Yes, we're back. I do mean that because I was out. Last week I was sick, man. We do we do mean that. And first off, I want to shout out to my guy Rue, who's not in. Rue is he's taking some time, man. He's got an allegation against. I'm just kidding. No, he's good. He's out. But we got a familiar face taking over. And we got my guy, D. Thompson, Danny Thompson. What's going on, Danny?
Man, I ain't been in this seat in a long time, bro. I think we can actually talk without having to do with commercials. We can really go like it was during the COVID era when it was top 10. See, that we ain't folks don't know about them top 10s. You need to go find them though.
You know, people still watching those and everything. So I get comments on them all the time, man. Yeah. We need to get that back. You know, we're gonna do that soon, man. But anyway, how are you doing, man? What's going on?
Man, it's a beautiful thing, you know. Everything's beautiful. Can't complain. I'm getting ready for this Ravens and Bengals game tomorrow night. Get a chance to go watch Big Boy perform, and so get to watch two playoff teams and keep the wife happy all at the same time. So it's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. You going to the game, right?
Yeah, we're leaving first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta let us know about that. But hey, y'all, we got a very interesting show for you all today, man. This is going to be very interesting, man. We are talking. Man, a lot came out. First of all, the Deshaun Watson saga came out. I guess that saga keeps going. The reason why I say that because he's out for the year. What's going on, Ryan? What's going on, man? Have you on? We are so we're discussing that. Also, we got to discuss college football, man. You know, we're getting deep into the playoff run. College football playoff polls came out. Our rankings came out yesterday. We're going to discuss that. And then, man, everybody's talking about, so we might as well talk about who's going to take over this Texas A&M job. I ain't gonna lie. I don't. People make it like it's a big deal. I don't look at it as a big deal like that. But we'll get into that. We're going to get into that. Also, we are talking NFL Midseason Awards, man. So we got a lot of those, man. We got to give out our I don't even want to say awards, but just at the midseason, who we think is this and that and so on. Also, we are talking. Stick with the NFL. Me and Danny was talking off the camera earlier today about just with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator got fired yesterday, but no one's saying anything about Josh Allen and his turnovers. You have minimal people talking about it, but not like they talk about other quarterbacks. We're going to get into that debate. Then we got to talk about his Falcons, which is his Falcons. We usually talk about the Falcons, the home team, but we're going to talk about the Falcons and everything briefly. Then we got to talk about the NBA, man. The James Harden trade. What does that mean? What's going on with that? And then all of a sudden we see injuries. I'm not injuries, but we're going to see injuries if it keeps on going like this because we see all of these fights and the physicality is wrapped up. What's going on, man? What's going on? I don't know.
I mean, I just don't want you choking me out like Draymond did Rudy Gobert if this thing gets heated.
All right.
You can't be choking me out. You can't be choking me out.
And we got to talk about that, man. Also, man, we have Dr. Fowler coming on, and we're talking about the injury report. So it might affect your fantasy teams or your favorite players or favorite teams. Get into that. And then we got to give our picks, and we got quick hits. Stop it. So please let your family and friends know they can listen to the show live on the 3pointconversion.com or the 3-Point Conversion Facebook page and the 3-Point Conversion YouTube channel. All right. And Ryan's, of course, man. Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on with Colorado. We know what's going on with Colorado. Like I said, I guess most of us suspected it. So, it's nothing to panic over.
It's part of it. It's part of it. We all know. We all know what it is.
Yeah, it's what it is. What up, Vince? All right, man. So we're going to start with these quick hits. Let's get it. So we're going to kind of do it different today, man. We got only 2 quick hits, but one of the quick hits might take longer than normal. But the first one is, Danny, the MLB is considering on reducing the pitch clock when runners are on base. Do you agree with this? Do you like this? Because I'm not gonna lie, Danny. I didn't like the pitch clock at first, but of course, like everything else, you get used to it. I still don't like it. But if they reduce it, I mean, like, golly, what? I'm wondering because it's a runner on base. What does that mean? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, there are more rules that you worry about than changing it by 2 seconds. I mean, I think they're saying that it's like 7 minutes they take off a game by additionally doing an extra 2 seconds, like off the runner on base. I mean, I didn't realize we were playing bases loaded, back in the 1980s on on Nintendo.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, 2 seconds really doesn't mean a lot, I guess. I mean,
Oh man, but think about it. If you pitching, taking off because already they had to adjust to this. Now you're taking off 2 seconds. That might be a lot for the beginning ripping.
what is this? Are you tired of running Acuna stealing bases? Is that where we're at this point in the season? How about this? There are other things that you need to change other than changing it by 2 seconds. If you took off 5 seconds, I get it. You get it down to like 13 seconds, like the NBA shot clock after you get a missed rebound. I get it. But 2 seconds don't mean nothing to me. How about this? How about you change this daggone playoff system? Because it seems like the teams who have the best record in the playoffs seem to get penalized when we get to October. How about we fix that first? How we got way more concerns than 2 seconds. All right, I don't care about 7 minutes of baseball, but I do care about seeing 100-win teams actually playing in October. I want the regular season. I want your 100 wins to mean something. I wanted the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series, and I'm not even an Orioles fan.
Right.
I don't care about the Diamondbacks. It doesn't matter.
I get that, but at the same time, man, if you got home field advantage, I don't care. Now I understand it because you're sitting longer. That's the thing. The fact that you're sitting longer, but at the same time, you should win that game. I mean, you should win that series.
Yeah, but baseball is unlike other sports. Is when you're taking time off, it affects not just the hitters, it affects the pitchers.
Right.
Like you're not pitching on your regular pitch count, your normal days off. It's different when we had the wild card, the one game that we're in. Now this whole first round is 3 games in 3 days, which means if your last regular season game's on a Sunday, they start playoffs on Tuesday. You're probably starting the playoff your playoff series on Saturday, which is a 6-day layoff. So if you have hot bats, they're gonna have 6. I don't care because Raphael, you were there when the Orioles were getting ready for their first round playoff series. It's a little different hitting infield practice after 6 days. It's different. It's you. They need more continuity in this. This ain't right. I ain't worried about 2 seconds. 2 seconds don't mean nothing to me. I don't care about 7 extra minutes taking off a baseball game.
I don't think, and we'll move on. I don't think it's going to change. That's going to change yet. It's going to. We'll see it next year, and if it happens next year, and it is like it is, then I think you'll start to see people, hey, we need this, or we need to change this, or whatever. So we'll see. Moving on. So here we go. So y'all buckle up for this. So I don't know if you all heard, it was a lawsuit that was filed against Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin by defensive tackle DeSanto Rollins for $10 million in punitive damages, claiming that Kiffin ignored signs that the defensive tackle was suffering from depression and that the coach treated him in a way was glossy, reckless, and indifferent. Okay, so basically, DeSanto was informed by the head coach that we're moving you down to we're demoting you to
Offensive line.
Then not only that, you're going to scout. So he went to scout team. Okay, because of that, DeSanto was like, I guess he was sick, it hurt him, and he was dealing with it. So he said he's going to take time from, because he's depressed or dealing with mental health. And he was out for like 3 to 4, I think 3 weeks, something like that. During the 3 weeks, Kiffin kept reaching out to him. Now, Rollins reached out to him and said, hey, answered and said, hey, I can't meet up, because Kiffin was like, hey, we need to meet up. You need to get here. We need to meet and talk. Kiffin was like, I'm not ready to talk yet because of what I'm dealing with. And then they had a meeting and Kiffin basically went off, and this is where it comes from. So I have that clip, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to play this clip. I'm going to let you all hear this, and y'all tell me what y'all think. We're about to discuss this. All right, hold on a second. Here we go.
If you would have come here when you kept getting messages, the head coach wants to talk to you, and you saying, I'm not ready to talk to him.
I wasn't.
Well, what world do you live in?
I don't see why you got to be disrespectful, honestly.
Get out of here. Go. You're off the team. You're done. See ya.
Because I
See ya. Go. And guess what? We can kick you off the team. So go read your rights about mental health. We can kick you off the team for not showing up. When the head coach has to meet with you and you don't show up for weeks, okay, we can remove you from the team. It's called being a pussy. It's called hiding behind and not showing up to work.
Danny, I'm gonna let you take the first stab, bruh. When you hear all of this, what do you do you believe he has since now mind you, this is what is called stayed. They said case is stayed, which this doesn't make sense to me, but basically it means that the judge has suspended it. Now Kiff and them, they try to put a motion out saying that, hey, this needs to be dismissed. The judge is like, no, we're gonna have it suspended for now. Basically, we're gonna wait till a judge looks at it, then he's gonna decide. And they haven't decided yet. So after hearing all of that, knowing the facts, knowing everything, like, what are your thoughts?
It's only dismissal. Lane Kiffin can get out of Ole Miss and take another job somewhere. Listen, this isn't good all the way around. You know, from what the player is saying, that this started way back in 2022. He suffered a concussion in some event in April 2022. He never got treatment for it, and then he tore his Achilles that following July, and then went into a state of depression, which caused a lot of mental health issues on him. The one thing with mental health nowadays is it's something that a lot of folks think they know about what mental health issues is or concerns is, but don't know how to treat them. We have everybody thinking they're a mental health counselor. So Lane Kiffin comes off as not only arrogant and wrong and rude, it comes off as completely dumbfounded what he says. And guess what? Because he's Lane Kiffin, he can get away with it, but he shouldn't. It's unreal how this is now a lawsuit that's getting pushed back until the judge gets a hold of it. It's now November 15th. What judge gonna look at it? Because we saw Jim Harbaugh last week get that case done real quick. It's the state of Mississippi. It's a athlete it's a black athlete. That's what we're gonna say. It's a black athlete in the state of Mississippi. How ironic is this when you look at the other program, because the other party suing for, it's $10 million on one side, but I think the lawsuit's up to $40 million at this current moment. There's also players on other teams that were allowed to take time away from mental health who were also
white. They were white, yeah.
So there's also a racial suit with this. There's more to it than this. Now, like I said, Lane's completely loud, wrong. And you know what? If he's mad and upset that the player did not reach out to him, I get it. I understand. We all work on a job. We got to talk to our employer at some point. So the way he went about it was completely wrong and uncalled for, and it should cost his job at this point. Like I said, if Kiffin's whole thing was you didn't reach out to me, okay, that's one thing. But the way, the manner, and the tone that it was come across makes it completely irrepressible. He should be fired for this point. But we know what's going to happen. This thing is not going to get dismissed. He's going to take another job somewhere else, and guess what? We'll never hear the end of this again.
Yeah, it's crazy because first off, and this is the thing, and like I said, we're going to tell you to shame the devil. First of all, we got to put this disclaimer out. Like we're not judging anyone with mental health. We're not anything, whatever y'all can come up with. None of that. We just talking. We're having a discussion. This is my thing. Most people would think, first of all, like, all right, because you got demoted, yeah, you was upset, whatever, and then you start dealing with mental health. At that point, I mean, it's kind of like people just being real, like you said, because we don't know a lot about that. A lot of people don't take time to study that or find out if it's what that means. So automatically, you tend to think he just hurt, just sick. He just upset. You know what I'm saying? We all go through that. Some people might say, get over it, whatever. But he said he was feeling a little depressed, which I wouldn't be surprised to be depressed, you know. Then after that, Danny, Lane Kiffin reached out. Now, the key is if Lane Kiffin reached out 3 weeks, for them 3 weeks, and Rollins never reached back out, then I can understand Kiffin's being upset. Not the way he acted, but I'm saying been upset. But Rollins responded, "Hey, I'm not in a state right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready." And then when they get in there, and it was more to this, when they get in there, Kiffin went out. You know what I'm saying? Basically saying he was butthurt and all of that. Like you said, it's in the state of Mississippi. It's a black kid. Now if they're able to find out that it was white kids that was given that privilege and he wasn't, boom, it's case over. But we got to see if that happens. We don't know that,
Well, I read somewhere it was part of it. It said it's part of his part of the 40.
I don't know if they got to prove that. I'm saying whether we don't know that yet. But still, just the way Kiffin went off on him, you off the team, and then the fact he said, "Hey," and hey, just because you got mental health, if you read like that was like, come on, bro.
Yeah, so like I said, if Lane Kiffin walks in there and says, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks," if he just talks in a regular tone, he can really pay attention to what the players say. I'm not in the mental state, but because Kiffin was already on level 20 when he said, "I've been trying to reach out to you," knowing the player's voice is very soft, he didn't hear anything he said. I'm not protecting Lane Kiffin from this because he shouldn't have went in there with a 10 attitude in the first place. All I'm saying is because he did not pay attention and read the room. We all saw this all the time. He didn't read the room. If a player says he's got mental health concerns, you need to literally look into it. They should have sent somebody over. Hey, listen, I know you're dealing with this. Can we send somebody to come talk to you? What do you need from us? Because I'm sorry, if I have a child that wants to play sports and I see this, I need to, if my child's going through something like this, because you got to think, Raphael, he said he went through a concussion and then he tore his Achilles right after he had a concussion. Was never checked for anything. And tearing your Achilles, to go through that process, ask any person who's torn their Achilles or an ACL and had to miss many months upon months of time. It's a mental block they have to go through. And these are professional athletes. So imagine a college 20-year-old kid going through this. Not near his family, not anything else. It just shows what Lane Kiffin really is. But everybody knows what Lane Kiffin's been for years anyway. So ironically, this don't shock me that he's doing this. What's going to shock me is that he's not going to get fired for this.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, we're gonna keep our ears close to that, and we'll see how that goes. So look, we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back, man. We're about to get into this Deshaun Watson. If you want to call it saga, whatever. We'll talk about it. Be right back.
Hey, this is Eric Campbell.
Hey, it's Chuck the Iceman Liddell.
This is Emmitt Smith, and you're listening to 3 Point Conversion.
All right. Like I said, it's going to be quick. We're back inside the 3 Point Conversion Sports Lounge. And if you just joined in, we got my man, Danny Thompson. Rue is not in trouble. He didn't get in trouble with the law, anything like that. He's not sick. He's good. But Danny is filling in for him. So, Danny, Deshaun Watson brought Cleveland back. Cleveland Browns was down. We saw him hurt his ankle. We were like, everybody was like, oh, he in trouble now. Here we go again. He left. He didn't throw the Hail Mary at halftime. And then in the second half, we saw him play, right? They come back. They win. They come back. He brings them back. He wins the game. They win the game. Everything looks good. You see him limping around, but hey, he finished. Then, of course, today it comes out, the big shocker, that he has a fracture in his thorn shoulder. Now, this is the shoulder that he was dealing with the whole time. I'm going to tell you my thoughts. When I first heard this, the first thing I thought was oh, here we go. Here we go again. Until I thought about it and was like, wait a minute. This is the same show that he was dealing with beforehand. Remember, everybody clowned him. Everybody was clowning him. Remember that game when he got hurt and he couldn't come back after he first came back, I believe. And then he was out, and you saw PJ Walker playing. He was standing next to the coach, and he was sitting there, but he didn't come in. And everybody's questioning, is something wrong with this guy and all of this? Now all of a sudden, he's out with a fracture. Mind you, he fractured it in the first quarter. Then played with a high ankle sprain and found out he had a high ankle sprain after the game, but still came back and won. So now, if anything, it shows the injury was legitimate. He shouldn't have been clowned on. He should have been talked about. And I thought about talking about him during that time. I didn't. I left it alone, but I thought about it. I won't lie. But either or, it was that serious. And everybody got on him talking about Cleveland messed up. They was dumb for this or what have you, because they thought he was just damaged because he wasn't, he's faking. He's not trying. But I felt like that game, he showed that he's dedicated, that he's a warrior. And I think everybody should admit that, man. I think that, it's sad for him, but I think everybody should admit the fact that, he's not that guy everybody was saying he was quitting on the team or anything like that, because Sunday showed nothing of him quitting on that team. You know what I'm saying? That was heroic, the way he played through that. You could see the way he was running. You could tell he was limping, so if something was like you said, you mentioned earlier, he didn't have any zip on the ball, when he was throwing it. You noticed that. So like I said, my thought first, it was like, like here we go. Quickly. But then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? He was really hurt. He couldn't go out there. Anytime you see a player next to a coach, he can go. You could tell he wanted to be out there. He was engaged. It wasn't like he was sunken. His head was sunk on a bench. No, he was ready to play. You know what I'm saying? He just couldn't get out there. He knew he couldn't. I don't know if he held himself or the coach, but I just know he could. But he was standing next to the coach. He was looking. He was engaged. So like I said, it's sad to see that happen to him. But I think everybody who had a chance, who was talking about him, and especially the media folks, I'm part of that. The media, they need to apologize. Your thoughts, bro?
You mentioned the fact it was heroic. Like Deshaun Watson not only led a heroic comeback, it was part of it. The fact of they were getting dominated in the first half by the Ravens. Like he played better hurt than when he was healthy. I mean, he was moving better when he had the ankle injury. He was throwing the ball better. It might not have zip, but it was getting there. It's a season-defining moment, and it could be something that can jumpstart it. I think it just feels like something happens every time a player goes to Cleveland. Like it's a player ends up in Cleveland, and somehow he just gets injured. The good thing this time around is the Browns saved themselves, unlike Baker Mayfield, who was out there just getting himself hurt, and everything else in between a couple years ago. Deshaun's money's too long for them not to get out of it. My initial impressions is, he's a tough guy, and it's a tough break for a Browns team that was playing really good football. Like they're right in the thick of things in the AFC North right now. Like they could technically take the tiebreaker when they take the tiebreaker. They played good football on Sunday in Baltimore on the road. And they made the Ravens basically Lamar Jackson had another bad performance in the fourth quarter. Again, I give Deshaun Watson a lot of credit. I just hate that he's not going to be able to see this thing through, because I'm not sure how Cleveland's going to finish this season.
Yeah. It was sad to see that happen to him, man. I mean, it was just, even watching him talk today, he was just like, he said he's still trying to process everything. He can't believe it. But the more interesting question is, just like the media says, damaged goods or whatever. How do you think? And I'll let you go first. How do you think management is thinking right now? What are they thinking right now? Are they feeling like, well, we shouldn't have made this deal? Or do you think it's one of the things like, okay, this happens, or like honestly, like not what they should be thinking. What do you think they are thinking? Like what's going on through their head right now?
I think get him healthy. I think the second they invested all that guaranteed money in him, they were already all in. I don't think he's damaged goods. I think last year was a readjustment to the fact he didn't play football for over a year. You remember, Michael Vick was in jail for a couple of years, and it took him some time to get used to things. He's in a new offense. He's trying to get his timing down. There was moments this year where he looked like Deshaun Watson. There's moments where it was frustration. But I think when Cleveland's looking at the bigger picture, okay, we know we have a Deshaun Watson because you look at Deshaun Watson the same way you're looking at Nick Chubb. If we have both those guys on the field right now, everything's a completely different story. So how do we go into 2024 knowing that we're going to get Watson back, we're going to get Nick Chubb back, we're going to have to go get some offensive weapons. We're going to still need another wide receiver to go next to Amari Cooper. I love Amari to death, but he's not a guy that's going to take the top off of defense. You need somebody that's going to get vertical and get down the field because Watson has the arm to do it. One thing about it is Watson has an arm, and hopefully the shoulder surgery will get him back to normal. I think that if you're looking at it from the Browns' management perspective, our two building blocks are out for the season. We know what this can look like. We're just health away from being up there with everybody else in the AFC at this point because our two best players are out, and we're still in the playoff chase. So that's where I'm thinking. They're like, get healthy. We invested in you at this point. There's no going back. We're in this thing for the long haul.
Right. You see, Vince Suck said that they told him to clear his mind, so he went and got a massage. Hey, that might help, but no. But
you can't massage that shoulder right now.
Right. The thing is, this might be the best thing for Deshaun, honestly. So like you said, I could see management feeling that way because he was playing hurt, and that's good, and as an organization, I can assume that that's what you want, but at the same time, if you didn't, like you said, if you paid all this loot and this guy is, guaranteed, you want him to be as healthy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it looked like Cleveland was on the run, I know they, you think about it team wise, like, man, the management's like, oh, we was just right there. But at the same time, they have to feel like, you know what, this might be the best thing, man. He needs to get some rest. We need to get him healthy. So next year we can make this run. Because I've always said it. I don't think it's this year, but Cleveland is a very talented team. They're one of the most talented teams in the league, always,
Mm-hmm.
But their problem always been quarterback. Now, this
Mm-hmm.
is going with that, but at the same time, he's doing what Baker Mayfield didn't do. And I think that's what hurt Baker Mayfield was trying to play through this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a blessing in disguise, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has no choice. It can't come from him. It can't come from the organization. So it's not going to be any bickering or whatever. It's mainly going to be, you know what? Let's sit him down. He needs to sit down anyway. But real quick, I want to ask you, as far as the team, what do you think the team goes from now?
If this team gets in the playoffs, Myles Garrett's the MVP of the league. Very simple. Myles Garrett is going to have to do what he's going to have to pull the equivalent of what Iowa is in college football. They're going to have to win games 12-10 going forward, and the defense might have to score in almost every single game at this point. No, they're starting. I think they're starting the kid from UCLA at quarterback on Sunday. It's not going to be PJ Walker. It's going to be the kid they had started in the Steelers game. I can't remember the name off the top of the head.
Dorian, I can't remember his name. Dorian.
I know Thompson's involved in it because that's Thompson. But you don't have. Yeah, listen. He married into the family. So when you look at, you don't have your all-pro running back, you don't have your $200+ million quarterback. If this team makes the playoffs with a backup quarterback, backup running backs, I don't care about Kareem Hunt. He's still a backup at the end of the day. It's Myles Garrett's the MVP of this league. It's real simple. Myles Garrett and that defense is going to have to do similar to what the Jets are doing right now. They're going to have to win games on defense to get into the playoffs. Unfortunately, you've been good too long, so you're not going to be able to pick too high in the draft. You're kind of that in-between phase, Raphael, that kind of in that 12 to 17 range of the draft because of your record at this point. They still can make a run because one thing about it is in the NFL, it really doesn't matter because I literally just watched the guy get picked up off the waiver wire in a trade. In like fantasy football, I just picked up this dude, and Josh Dobbins. He walks in, doesn't know nothing, and beats the Falcons after coming in as a backup on 3 days of learning the roster.
Dobbs.
So anything, Dobbs came in there like he just came from Arizona. He's like, oh, I'm in a winning situation. Oh, the quarterback's out. Let me be a NASA astronaut and beat the Falcons. So anything is possible at this point. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. It now becomes a 2-team race in the AFC North between the two teams playing tomorrow night, Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Let me end the segment. I think I'm kind of shocked that they're starting the rookie. I know he's 29 years old, whatever, but I'm shocked that they starting him over PJ Walker. We've seen, PJ make mistakes, but the defense is good enough. PJ has every game they've been close with PJ. When that rookie came in and played, they look horrible.
Keyword you just said, rookie. And number two, have you watched PJ Walker? Ask Carolina fans. Ask Carolina fans. This ain't what you want.
But he's won a game. He's been there. They won it. Remember, they beat who was the big team they beat?
The game Watson got knocked out the first. I think it was the first quarter, the first half. It was, 2 weeks ago. That's the game Watson was 1 for 5. That was Indianapolis.
Right. No, they lost to them. It was another. They came back.
They beat the Colts. They beat the Colts.
It was the other team they beat. They weren't supposed to beat. I can't remember who they played. Somebody help me with that. The 49ers. They beat the 49ers. Yeah, Ryan would know that. They beat the 49ers with PJ. I mean, the defense played well, but what I'm saying is when the Rook came out there and he played, they couldn't move the ball at all. And that's what, remember, they end up switching. That's why they switched to PJ. So I'm just kind of shocked at this time, at this moment that they're saying we're gonna give the reins back to the rookie.
I think you give him a shot. Because the one thing Thompson has is Thompson has a better arm than PJ Walker. He's going to be able to stretch the ball down the field vertically. And the thing is, if he can stretch the ball down vertically, you're not putting 8 and 9 in the box dealing with Kareem Hunt trying to run the football and Jerome Ford. That's been the problem. You don't want them stuffing the box on your running backs knowing that you're going to need them. I think because you can throw the ball out, you can throw the ball deep down the field, it's just going to take 2 or 3 passes down the field for them to stop putting 8 in the box. You don't want them putting 8 and 9 in the box going forward.
No, I get that. But again, if the Rook is not there mentally, I'm just saying, I just think PJ might throw a mistake, but PJ they getting touchdowns, they driving down the field. He might throw that pick, he might miss a few, but the offense looked more fluent with PJ in there than the Rook. Now, trust me, now granted, the Rook only had one game to play off of, but
it was Pittsburgh. He played against Pittsburgh.
But right now, PJ beat 49ers. You're 6-3 right now. I'm just saying, I get it. I mean, put it like this. They play in one game, they see. If not, then you put PJ in. Maybe they're going with that. And if they do that, that's fine. Because this week,
or you just trying to have a backup in the future. The thing is, you want to see what you have in the kid, because what happens, like you said, Deshaun Watson has had some injuries. He has some nicks and bumps here. What happens if you have to throw him back in action next season? Maybe what happens to Deshaun might not be ready to start the season. We don't know. So you want to have the kid on the roster to see what he's made of before you have to go into free agency, before you might have to spend a draft pick on another rookie quarterback at some point. At least see what the kid has.
I guess I'm just saying right now you're 6-3, and maybe you feel like you have room because right now, the Ravens are 7-3. So I guess right now it just depends on, you just feel like, hey, we got room to have a game where we can see what he does. If not, he plays well, whatever. So, all right, man, we can talk about that all day. Good topic, man. But look, we're gonna take a quick break, man. Get some water or something real quick. Just listen to these people, whatever, man. They might know something about the 3-point conversion.
It's Kalen DeLoach, linebacker.
Okay, we are back. That was quick.
They know. They said so fast we didn't know how long they were gone.
Yeah, I know, right? That was very quick. Let me ask you. All right. College football. We're talking college football, y'all. we do a segment, what is called Nosy Neighbor. And this is where we like to look at, we want to be nosy. You have a nosy neighbor that's peeking through the windows, the blinds, whatever, acting like they in the car looking at something and they trying to be nosy, looking, seeing what you're doing. So this is where we like to be nosy about these college football teams during this week, whatever, during Saturday. I'll go first, Danny. And I'll let you go next. Real quick. I'm being nosy, peeking. And just at the organization, not even at the game, but I'm just looking at Colorado right now. I'm being nosy because, and I'm still rooting for Colorado. It was dope how they had all the fans, had everybody there. You had celebrities or whatever. I'm just trying to see if this still happening, if this still going to happen if they're going to get the support. And it's not necessarily being nosy to see if what Colorado was doing, but more so the fanfare. Because you had a lot of bandwagon fans. And I mean, I'm still rooting for them. I'm team Colorado. Deion was one of my favorite players. I'm rooting for Deion and all of that. But at the same time, I just wonder, because they're losing, are they still getting the support? I want to see if they get the support. So and actually, you know what, man? I'm that neighbor. Forget peeking through the blinds. I'm coming out on the porch, dog, with my binoculars. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking, pointing. Yeah, him right there is, I'm gonna be bold with it. I want to see if we still going to see celebrities and everybody else, the bandwagon fans, the people don't even know about Colorado, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not clowning them. But right now, this is where the team needs you if you were rooting for them. I want to see if they're still going to be there. So that's what I'm being nosy about. What is your nosy neighbor watch?
Listen, I got my head peeked out the window. I'm watching the Amazon driver roll by. Wait for him to finish because I'm looking at the Oregon State Beavers right now. I'm the nosy neighbor for the Oregon State Beavers. Let me tell you why. In a week where the Pac-12 and the two remaining schools of the Pac-12, Oregon State and Washington State, won the trust battle, guaranteeing themselves all of the Pac-12 revenue funds for all the schools, including the 10 that are leaving the conference this week. Oh, by the way, Washington, who's undefeated, travels up to Oregon State this weekend. And DJ Ukulele, who was ran out of Clemson because he couldn't win the big game, now is on the big stage in Oregon State playing against Washington and a Heisman Trophy winner, a candidate, Michael Penix. What just happens, for example, at Oregon State at 5-2? They win this game on Saturday night. Washington has to play Washington State in the final Apple Cup game, in the final game in the Washington Pac-12 conference with a chance to go to the Pac-12 championship game, because if they lose, Oregon State will win the conference. Wouldn't that be the biggest FU to Washington and the teams losing, that their final two games is against the opponents that basically took all their money when they ran to the Big Ten? Mm-hmm. So I'm being nosy and watching DJ Ukulele potentially not only in Michael Penix's Heisman Trophy candidacy, but also in Washington's national championship hopes as Washington and USC destroyed the Pac-12.
No, I'm with you. So that's good. Definitely with you on that. So let's get to it, man. First of all, let's talk about the playoff picture right now. We see Georgia. They got Georgia. We'll talk about the top six. They got Georgia at number one. That was a switch. Ohio State is number two now. Mm-hmm. Still got Michigan at number three. And number four is number 14. I don't have it up. It's
Michigan.
Michigan, I thought.
Yeah, it's Michigan. I'm sorry, it's CFP is Georgia.
Florida State. I got it. Florida State. All right, and then you got Washington number 5. Then you got Oregon at number 6. All right, so this is a big game for Washington. They need to win this, because if Washington wins this, of course they got to win the Pac-12 championship, which more than likely I think they would be playing Oregon. So this is a big game for Washington to put themselves in that position. But let's say they do win this game. They're, between Oregon and Washington, they're guaranteed to get that number 4 spot. They're guaranteed to get in the playoffs because Michigan and Ohio State is going to cancel each other out. Unless now Oregon might not be guaranteed because let's say if Ohio State loses to Michigan and Oregon beats Washington, if Washington beats Oregon State, then do you put Ohio State in there and keep Oregon out, or do you put Oregon in and Ohio State out? Now we don't have to discover that right now, but I'm just saying when you're looking at this is where it starts getting interesting. You know what I'm saying with the playoffs.
It's like this. So I think you mentioned the Ohio State, Michigan playing each other and cancel each other out. My whole thing is this. I think whoever loses that game, I think sits in an ideal spot. And here's the reason why it sits in an ideal spot. Because I honestly think the way this is going, because the ACC can't figure out any team that wants to play Florida State in that championship game to help Florida State get into the CFP. Something tells me if it comes down to an undefeated Florida State and a one-loss Ohio State team, for example, I think the CFP will take Ohio State knowing that one loss is Michigan, or in vice versa situation. And even more of the case, if Jim Harbaugh is still on the side, not on that sideline, I think the CFP will give Michigan the benefit of the doubt, saying Harbaugh's not there. And here becomes the other part. I think the team we didn't talk about is Alabama. Alabama's lurking with one loss in the SEC championship game. Don't let Alabama beat Georgia in that SEC championship game. Do you really think the CFP is going to leave Georgia out of the CFP? There's no way. I think for some reason, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan are bulletproof in this situation.
Okay, wait. So I know it's too early to talk about this because we're not in the championship game, but still, I'm just because you mentioned that. So if Alabama beats Georgia, you got to put Alabama in there, right?
Alabama's going to get one spot, but I can't see them leaving Georgia out.
No, I don't know. Because now they got beat by, because think about it, just scenario. But if Georgia, so if Ohio State, let's say Ohio State, Michigan cancel each other out. So Ohio State's in there. Like you said, Michigan probably is going to get that spot. Maybe, probably, because of Harbaugh, right? Georgia loses to Alabama, but Washington beats Oregon. Now, if Oregon beats Washington, then you got to put Alabama ahead of Oregon. But if Washington beats Oregon, they're still undefeated, and they beat Oregon State. You have to put Washington in the top. You can't have Alabama leapfrog Washington.
Two words, Nick Saban. It don't matter what we think. It's Nick Saban and it's the CFP. You honestly think this is going to end up in some weird, demented situation? Now, here's where it gets really wild, because we talk about teams that can really spoil the bunch. We talk about talking about being nosy neighbor or Oregon State. What just happens for some dumb reason? Iowa wins the Big 12 championship game, and then you throw a monkey wrench in everybody at this point. What happens if Iowa, who can't score a single touchdown all season, who got their offensive coordinator fired because he couldn't score 25 points a game, turn around and beat the team that beat Ohio State, or the Ohio State-Michigan winner? What happens if Iowa wins that game? Not saying Iowa's going to get in there.
That's not happening.
What I'm saying is it's going to cause more chaos, which gives Alabama the leeway if they only have one loss. That's the thing. It comes down to if Ohio State and Alabama have one loss compared to a Florida State that might be undefeated or Washington is undefeated, they're going to take one of those two teams because of the conference they're in.
So basically, said he thinks Oregon is going to drill Washington. You know what? I'm not going to lie.
I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised. Oregon's number 5-star recruits out there, so it's not like it's a big shocker.
Oregon is that team. Like, to me, I think Oregon probably is better than. I mean, what Michigan did, man, they just got that. But I just feel like Oregon beat Michigan. I think Oregon is like the number 3 team in the college football right now. Like,
I think Oregon could beat Michigan. They're not beating Ohio State, and they're definitely not beating Georgia.
I don't know. I think Oregon is the team.
Georgia will dog walk. Georgia,
I can see Georgia, but right now, besides Georgia, Oregon is the most complete team in college football. Like offensively, besides Georgia and maybe I can't see no other team better. So I'll take that back. They might be the second best team in college football.
I can't see that. I'll tell you this. I think if Oregon played Florida State beats Oregon.
Mm-hmm. And like Maceo said, they already showed that Texas and Bama are joined at the hip. Bama needs Texas to lose again.
Here's the thing. Because of the fact of you got Alabama in that SEC championship game and having the chance to beat Georgia. That's what this is really predicated on. Alabama's only hope to get in this thing is to beat Georgia. Because they beat Georgia, they're going to get in. There's no way the CFP leaves them out. They beat Georgia.
And I can see that. I think Alabama's good enough I think they could beat Georgia. But again,
Milroe's playing out of his mind right now.
We're talking about, yeah, right. And Alabama's a scary team to play. But we're talking about a team from top to bottom or from defensively, offensively, special teams. Right now, I put everything on Oregon.
You going to do that, Raphael? Oregon wins that championship when you grow hair again.
I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship.
Oregon's the second best team when you put an afro back in your head. There's no way they're the second best. I can't trust anything out of the Pac-12. The Pac-12 has shown you for years.
This is not the same Pac-12, though, Danny. I understand. This is not the same Pac-12 right now. It's not.
What in the Pac-12 has made you find confidence in Oregon to go win a big game?
Because first of all, Oregon's offense is not predicated Oregon's team not just predicated on offense. Their defense is legit. Their defense is tops in the game. So this is not the same Pac-12 where you had Mariota doing what they did. They was a fast team and they relied on speed, and that's it. I know Bo Nix is 35 years old, but Bo Nix, we went to class.
They got Chris Winkie at quarterback. This is not.
We went to class together, but he's balling though, and that's helping them. And they have speed, they have toughness. The defense is dog. I'm just saying.
I will take George Travis over Bo Nix in a one-game situation.
You know what?
Give me Florida State over Oregon right now.
You know what? And we hadn't even talked about Florida State. You're right. And Florida State is another team. We just skipped over them. But they're going to be in, like I said, they're going to be there. Florida State is locked in. I can't see them moving.
The problem with Florida State is the other team they play in the ACC championship game is so thrown up in the air because the rest of the conference doesn't seem to want to stay consistent. North Carolina is the only thing that can stay consistent, but can you trust North Carolina to win the remaining games to get to Charlotte to play Florida State? All Florida State's asking for is a top 25 team to show up in Charlotte to get punched in the face. That's all they're asking for. Because if Florida State plays the ACC championship game and plays some unranked team, when every other conference championship game has ranked teams playing each other, especially high-ranked teams playing each other, they're going to look at Florida State's resume because Miami can't see Miami faltered, and the ACC isn't super strong. That's where my problem with Florida State is. I think Florida State can go in. They can beat Oregon. I think they can give Ohio State a game. I think they can beat Michigan. I think they'll have a time with Georgia. I think Florida State might be the second best team in college football over Oregon.
And I'll just end it with this. Is Florida State battle tested? Like, they play some good teams now, but are they battle tested and played in their schedule was as tough and played teams like Oregon has or Georgia, because Georgia's schedule got tougher because they're going to play Alabama. They have to play Alabama as well. But even Michigan doing what they did. So I'm just, like I said, we'll talk about this next week.
I'll make it 20 seconds this one. I don't think they're more battle tested than Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those three teams, I don't think they're more battle tested for. Anybody else, in Alabama. Outside of anybody else, I'll put them on the table against anybody else unbattle tested.
Oregon's schedule is tougher than Florida State.
I don't trust anything in the Pac-12. We're going to say this again. The Pac-12 will get kicked in the face again in the CFP once again, and you're going to grow hair in your head. That's what's going to happen.
I don't know, man. Didn't the Pac-12 get to the championship game?
And what happened?
Well, I went Pac-12. That was Big 12. My bad. I was Big 12.
Thank you.
Big 12. But I'm just saying the fact. I'm not saying they're gonna win it. I'm just saying right now, this team, the Pac-12 is not the same Pac-12 we've seen before. And
Washington might be the only team to break it because if it's Oregon, they're getting punched in the face. Washington can because Penix is the top. I think Michael Penix is the top 12 overall player in the draft. He might be able to break the curse. I can't see Oregon doing it.
I don't know. But all right, man, we beg to differ. But look, let's move on. We didn't stay on that too long, but we got to speed through this. NFL midseason right now. Danny, I want you to tell me right now, midseason. We're gonna start with. We're not even gonna do. You want to do NFC rookie? We can just do rookie.
Which do all the way around?
Because we got to go. AFC, so NFL rookie, AFC rookie. We already know who's winning that offensively, right?
Yeah, I think offensive rookie of the year. I think either way around, CJ Stroud.
NFC rookie of the year. Who do you have offensively?
I think the offense. I want to say Deshaun Robinson, but I want to say Deshaun Robinson, but Arthur Smith ain't gonna allow that to happen for some strange reason. Puka Nacua had such a great story to start the season, but then then Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp got healthy, and Matthew Stafford doesn't look for anything other than Cooper Kupp. Still give me Robinson because I still think that he has the most overall yards on both sides.
I think it's Addison. No, it's Addison from Minnesota. What he's done, and I think as of last week, he was leading receivers, and even now, I think he's leading receivers in touchdowns, I believe, or he was right up there.
But is that because he had Justin Jefferson for so long next to him?
No. He's a rookie. That don't matter. He's a rookie. It doesn't matter. Justin Jefferson is not playing. He's been balling since Justin Jefferson been out. We can't say that. We can't use that. See, that's that Atlanta bias coming out. That's that Falcons bias coming out.
I mean, if you truthfully honest, since October 1st, he has 2 games over 80 yards receiving since October 1st.
Since October 1st.
Since the Carolina game. He goose egged in the Carolina game. He's had a game of 82 yards, a game of 82 against Green Bay, 123.
He's a rookie.
Listen, but you're talking about he's balling out, but he's had good numbers.
Touchdowns matters, right?
We had 7 this year. He had 2 in the 49. The 49er game, he completely just went out of his mind in that 49ers game because he had 2 in that 49ers
game. Look at all the wide receivers. We talking about halfway now. He has 7 touchdowns halfway. You talking about the only other receiver I think is close to him is Tyreek, and I don't even think Tyreek passed him up. Did he?
I think Tyreek's passed him.
Look it up. Put it up. While you pulling that up, like I said, I got Addison. If you look at the defensive side of the ball, AFC, who do you have? I think that because you're talking about Will Anderson, right?
Give me Will Anderson of the Houston Texans. I think because of the fact that I think he's a top 5 in the league in QB pressures. As a rookie, that means he's getting to the quarterback. He has the nose to make plays. He's played really well in the fact that the Houston Texans. Listen, it's very rare that you make trades to get 2 first-round picks in the top 3, and then not only did they hit, it made your team better when you gave a first-round pick next year. Sorry, Carolina, that the pick that you're giving up is in the top 15. You saw it happen last year. Carolina moved up and gave everything away, and now your Bears are sitting with 2 top picks in the top 5 because Carolina did not do anything by his quarterback. Will Anderson has been phenomenal on both sides. Sometimes it's not about sacks; it's about what you do, pressuring the quarterback, and he fits DeMeco Ryans' scheme perfectly. So he's my AFC Rookie of the Year.
What about the NFC? What we got in NFC?
Listen, give me Devon Witherspoon of the Seattle Seahawks. The kid's really a ball. He's really good. He covers all the sides of the ball. He in a division where you have good receivers, he plays really well against good receivers. And listen, it's a two-person race in the NFC, but give me Witherspoon because I just like the way, as a rookie with the technique, he has a chance to be a Pro Bowler in the near future, maybe as early as next season.
So with Jalen Carter, Cortland said Jalen Carter is balling also.
Oh yeah,
but
also Jalen Carter is also in a situation where he has elite defensive linemen in front of him. That when he goes in, he's not an every down defensive lineman because the Eagles have everything in front of him.
Right. I say Witherspoon as well. I mean, I think he's holding his own. And it's not like he's getting help. Like, I understand who he shares the backfield with, but we're just talking, and Cortland, we're just talking right now about just mid-season, who we have mid-season. We're not talking about who's going to win it, but more so just mid-season. I like Witherspoon. I like Witherspoon right now. All right, so let's move on to NFC Offensive Player of the mid-season right now.
Christian McCaffrey. It's not close. McCaffrey's been the best player. He's right. He might be the league's MVP. He's been the best player in football all year. It's not even close.
I agree. AFC Offensive Player of the Year. Offensive Player out of mid-season so far.
Man, this is the problem with that. Right? Okay. Here's the issue I have with the NFC Offensive Player of the Year. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Let's do this.
It's Patrick Mahomes. So here's the reason why. I was going to give it to Lamar Jackson. Huh?
Patrick Mahomes?
Listen, you say Offensive Player of the Year. Here's the thing. My offensive MVP was Lamar Jackson. The problem is he's thrown 2 pick sixes. He's thrown 2 crucial interceptions that costed the Ravens in 2 divisional games. Both interceptions were brutal. It happened at the wrong time of the game. Mahomes is quarterbacking at a high level. I understand what Tyreek Hill is doing in Miami. But I also think that there's so many weapons in Miami. Give me Mahomes because think about it. Kelsey's not been his best. Kansas City still tops in offense. Give me Mahomes. I know I'm not going to hear the end of it. But
top offense?
Give me Mahomes.
I thought they were top 12 offense.
They're top. I think it's top 11, top 12. I think before the last I checked before the bye week, they were in top 11.
I mean, he's playing with a lot. But I can't do that. It's got to be top.
The reason why I said, but wait when we get to the next. Wait till we get to the next one. Go ahead.
Right.
Because the next one's the MVP award.
You think okay? So you think MVP? Okay. Here's the thing. This is why I hate Offensive Player of the Year. Because to me, you do Offensive Player of the Year. This is what I say. I'm gonna give it to Stroud.
MVP, wow.
Just the MVP so far. And I'm looking at it as far as not just the Offensive Player of the Year. I mean,
okay.
So far, just because of the 1 interception. How many touchdowns he has now? I know it was 15 at one point. Is it still? It might be.
Let's see.
Is it 15 before this week?
15-2.
So he had interception Sunday.
Yeah.
So 15-2. Not just because he's a rookie, but what he's doing with and for the team. The team is right now. What they're 5-4, right?
Mm-hmm.
This young team.
No one said this from the beginning of the season.
I got to give him Offensive Player of the year for of the mid seasons for AFC. But MVP, I'm with you. AFC definitely Tyreek.
Tyreek Hill is the MVP of the entire league at this point. Like. And you mentioned before.
Not AFC, but he's the MVP. I'm sorry, he's just the MVP.
He's the MVP of the entire league. We haven't got the defensive MVP. We haven't got to the defensive player of the year.
Right.
But the MVP of the entire league is Tyreek Hill. And like you mentioned before, it's kind of hard when you have the offensive player of the year and the MVP because you can't give the same guy both awards.
Right.
Tyreek Hill has been the most valuable player because you take away Tyreek Hill from the Miami Dolphins, this ain't the same team. Tua's been great. Tua's been really great. He's been really good all year. But he's become elite because of having Tyreek Hill on the outside. Those 8 touchdowns on the outside. He has a chance to break 2,000 yards from the outside. He's the best game breaker in the sport, even bigger game breaker than Christian McCaffrey is. And that's like neck and neck when it comes to the biggest game breaker in the business right now. The most value, because you take away Tyreek Hill right now, Miami's not a playoff team.
So let me ask you this though. We said Christian McCaffrey NFC. We both agreed, but you don't think McCaffrey can be MVP?
I think he's behind. I think he's behind Tyreek Hill. But because I gave McCaffrey offensive MVP in the NFC, I'm giving Tyreek Hill the
I know I understand that, but I'm just saying, do you think?
I think they're like, it's like they're right there. It's like if you took McCaffrey as your league MVP, you're not wrong. I think it's Tyreek Hill, but if you say Christian McCaffrey, I don't think you're wrong with that either.
Because I would say now I'm thinking, yeah, I agree because I got Tyreek. That's why I got him as NFC Offensive Player of the Year. Because if we said McCaffrey was MVP, then Ab, I'll be with you. Then AJ Brown should be Offensive Player of the Year. But what Tyreek is doing, he's about to break records right now. He's about
that part. Like I said, the numbers he's put up to start the year, like it's insane what he's putting up to start the year. I mean, he already has almost 1,100 yards, and it's a bye week. They still got time left. He's going to break 2,000 receiving yards. He's going to break it.
Yeah. Who are you talking about? Tyreek? But
AJ Brown.
What you're talking about? You're talking about Tyreek, right?
Who, me? I'm sorry, for MVP, all the numbers? Yeah, Tyreek's got almost 1,100 receiving yards.
Christian McCaffrey, only reason why I got him over AJ Brown. AJ Brown went out, but AJ Brown had 2 games where he did nothing. Christian McCaffrey's been relevant every game. And last week was the first game he hadn't scored a touchdown this season, let alone, what was it, like 20-some games? So that's why he gets my Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year for AFC. We both agree on Myles Garrett, right?
Myles Garrett. That's not close.
NFC.
I'm going to let you go with this one first.
Dude.
This is a hard one.
Do you say, I mean, I know we don't, and I'm trying to think, but Bosa, I mean, can you, I still got Bosa right there, man. Bosa, or he kind of slowed down. His teammate, the linebacker, middle linebacker, I can't think of his name right now.
Fred Warner.
Warner. Other than that, I can't. I'm just trying.
I think my guy I'm gonna say is Danielle Hunter of the Minnesota Vikings. Danielle Hunter, he has 11. He's tied with Myles Garrett for the league lead in sacks this year. He's got 11.
Right.
We're talking about a guy that's playing on a team right now that's trying to carry everything he has. Like I said, we're talking about the guy who's the most valuable in his defense. And I see Cortland in the chat saying Micah Parsons. That's perfectly fine, but Dallas still has the elite defensive players everywhere. Yeah, they have good defensive players everywhere. I think if you take away Danielle Hunter away from Minnesota, they've already been depleted in offense, but take him away from the defensive side of the ball, they're getting obliterated. Hunter is playing at elite levels. It's the best he's played his whole career. I think, to me, he's been the best player in the defensive side of the NFC this year.
And I agree. The only reason why with Bosa, because Danielle Hunter is getting sacks, no doubt. But Bosa is getting tackles for losses, the pressures. Like, he is like really destroying teams. You know what I'm saying? Because I get Hunter has 11 sacks, but I guess I'm just going off that fact. But then, last but not least, we have to move on. Coach of the Year, or Coach of the midseason right now. Who do you have?
Man, give me DeMeco Ryans in Houston. Give me DeMeco. They're the best. They're the feel-good story the whole season. For them to be 5-4 at this part of the year, there's not been a guy with a better job, who's done a better job this year than what DeMeco Ryans has taken over. A team that won literally the Lovie Smith Bowl last season and turned it into what it is now at the midseason point. For us to even have, we're talking about CJ Stroud is in the MVP conversation. They're talking about throwing him in the MVP conversation. The Texans are in the middle of a playoff hunt. They're in the middle of a playoff chase where a chance they could actually win this entire AFC South at this point. They're playing better on both sides of the ball, and you really can, and most people can't name more than 5 Texans on the roster right now.
Okay, so I'm not arguing with you, but to play devil's advocate or come with somebody else, I know Corlin said Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell has been great.
Great job.
Dan Campbell almost been coaching him out of games though. Like his stuff he's been doing is like, all right, bro, but good job. But I gotta go with, besides, you have to give it to the Houston coach, but besides him, man, I gotta go Mike Tomlin. It is no way these jokers
Right,
be 6
and 3 with an offense is that bad. It's been bad.
One thing about Mike Tomlin, they know how to. I don't know how he does it, bro. I don't know how he does it. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. He's called the ghost of Steelers past. Maybe some angels in the outfield type of stuff. I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh. I don't know. It's just that they're winning games when you don't think they should be winning games. Their defense is always coming up in the big moments, and for some reason, it's like every week an offensive player does something. We had both running Najee Harris and Warren last week that came up huge for them last week.
Right.
And the thing is, you can't discount them.
Yeah, you can't discount them. But all right, man. So we're gonna put a pin in NFL right now, man. Let's move on to Stop It segment. And Danny, I'm gonna let you go first. Where we give our Stop It's. We don't take that long, it's real quick, but Danny, I'm gonna let you go first. You've been waiting for this all week. So
Raphael, I don't know if you have the graphic or not, but this is something. So I live in the state of Virginia, for those who don't know. I witnessed on Friday night one of the biggest high school football draggings I've ever seen in my life, where Phoebus High School out of Hampton, Virginia played Jamestown High School outside of Williamsburg in a high school football playoff game, and Phoebus won by the score of a grand total of 104-0. Yes, it was correct because I sat on the sideline and saw them score the 100-point on the sideline. So here's my stop it. I have 3 stop-its with Raphael, so I know it's a segment. The first stop-it goes to the VHSL, which is also known as the Virginia High School League. Can I get a stop it, please, on this one?
No. Say why you saying. You got to say why you. Well, no. Let me give it to him.
Stop it.
Here's why. Jamestown was 1-9 this season. They were 1-9, Raphael. They just gave up 84 points the week before to the number 2 team in the 4A division. They allowed a 1-9 team to play the Phoebus Phantoms, who have only lost 1 game since COVID and literally given up 10 points all season. You sent a 1-9 team and allowed them to be in the playoffs. That's the first stop it.
Okay.
The second stop it needs to go to the Jamestown football head coach. And here's the reason why. Number one.
Stop it.
Phoebus asked not to play this game. You gave up 84 points the week before. You don't need to play this game. But Raphael, here's what happened. Phoebus scored 21 points in the first 48 seconds of the game. It was 42-0 in the first 6 minutes, 56-0 at the end of the first quarter. The coaches met at the 30-yard line with the athletic directors. Phoebus wanted to stop the game. It's pointless. You don't want nobody getting hurt. Instead of stopping the game, the coach is like, no, we're going to continue. They shortened the quarters to 8-minute quarters and put a running clock on. For those who know what a running clock is, basically, as long as it's not a timeout or a touchdown, the clock doesn't stop. It was 84-0 at halftime. They went to it again. Phoebus wants to stop the game again. The Jamestown coach said, no, we're not going to be quitters. They gave up 104 points. And you allowed your kids to give up 104 points. Can you imagine being a senior in your last game, you lost 105-0?
Yeah.
And last but not least, can I give one to Max Preps, please?
Stop it.
All right.
Stop
Here's
it.
Here's the reason why. When a score goes 104-0, it becomes national news. There is a player on the picture of Max Preps that got over 1 million views. Okay, the player on the picture is named Keontae Gray, who was the Offensive Player of the Year in the Peninsula District, offense, and also all defense at defensive back and one of the best kick returners in the entire state of Virginia. They got the wrong kid's name on the poster. So as you're tagging this everywhere, USA Today, CBS, Yahoo, MSNBC, CNN, they're all posting this picture of a kid that plays at another school. His name and the biggest beat writer that covers Max Preps is out of Hampton.
Oh,
how does that happen? So the entire Max Preps and their social media team should get a stop it because the kid Keontae Gray, number 2 in that photo, should be getting all the looks. So Keontae, this is my segment for you. Please won't do anything because I think he scored 2 touchdowns on 2 touches of the ball last Friday. So that's my stop it.
Wow. That's crazy. All right, man. I'll stop it. Goes to hold on, let me get my you know what? Before I'm not gonna say it, I'm gonna just show you. I'm gonna talk while it plays. So my stop it goes to Rudy Gobert. I hope I don't know if they're gonna show it all, but you see he's getting choked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Watch Rudy Gobert now. Watch him. Watch what he does. See if they show it. Yeah. Watch. Here it comes, y'all. And if for y'all listening, look, Rudy Gobert is trying to act like he act tough. Bro, you can't act tough after that. You cannot act. No, you got choked out. Now, true enough, he came blindside. You didn't see him. But you can't come get up and then try to talk mess like, oh, I got you. Because if you didn't get up soon after he got done choking you 8 feet already. And you didn't get up and try to fight. Leave it alone, bro. I would have just laughed at him, bye-bye, waved the bye-bye sign, whatever. But Rudy gets my stop it, man. He stop it. He gets that stop it just for trying to act like he was good. So before we move on, Ab says he want to give Clippers a stop it for trading for Harden. Stop it. Yeah, everybody been saying that, man. We're gonna get to that too, man, because we got to talk about that trade. But I want to get back to the NFL, and we're gonna not take so long, but the Falcons, we hometown Atlanta. The Falcons lose to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, it's not just the fact that they lost to the Arizona Cardinals because they were 1-8 or 1-7, 1-8, I believe. But the fact that they had Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray hadn't played in almost a year. He was cold, and they still lose. Okay. But here in Atlanta, and Danny's Atlanta Falcons fan, so I'm going to let him speak on this briefly. But I want to ask you, Danny, because you're the Falcons fan, is it warranted that the fans want Arthur Smith gone? As my boy, shout out to my boy Glaze, to Manuel Glaze. Glaze said he's gonna get to you remember that the video where the dude from the Jets was coming in by the
key card.
Key card didn't work. He said that should happen to Arthur Smith, even though Arthur Blank, I think, came out was like, he's good. Should he get fired? Should he have gotten fired? And should he get fired for the rest of the year, or should we just still wait?
At this point, I think we wait. I understand. I'm as frustrated as anybody else. I even made a Facebook post about it. As I said, the last 2 weeks, my Atlanta Falcons have lost to a dude who doesn't even know the playbook 1 week, and the second week we lost to Inchire Private Eye. This is what the Falcons have done. Atlanta finds, but if you're a Falcon fan, you find ways to lose every single week. That just happens.
Right.
I think Arthur Smith should get the rest of the year because if somehow he can get Bijan Robinson the football like he did the first few weeks of the season, I think it might save his job. What has to go is this entire offense needs to be scrapped at this point. I think Arthur Smith's play calling needs to be taken away on the offensive side of the ball. He needs to manage his roster at this point. Worry about the offensive lines. Stop calling plays on offense. What the problem has been is Atlanta can throw the ball down the field. They just refuse to. Tyler Heineke came in and showed that he could throw the football until he got hurt last week. And then Desmond Ritter as always. At this point, Atlanta has a better record now than it did last year. It does. If Atlanta ends up with a more improved record than last year, Arthur Smith should keep his job. But by no means, if this thing is the same or worse than it was last year, this dude needs to be out the door. I give Terry Fontenot all the credibility for getting this roster back together on the salary cap side, and he's been making moves. But at this point, we're going to see after the bye. He's got a week to get this together. He's got a full bye week to get this together. I don't say it's fireable just yet. He's getting there. That seat's warm. It ain't fireable just yet because we ain't hit rock bottom yet. So we're going to see, but I don't think it's fireable just yet.
This is my quick take on it. I kind of agree with you. I think that it's right there. It's right there. He's still got 9 games. If he can swallow his pride and be like, look, I'm going to let the offensive coordinator call this. I'm going to, give him the reins and I'll just, like you said, manage the team. And yeah, because y'all have and the NFC South, y'all have a chance. And the thing is, everybody lost except for Tampa last week. And then you don't want Tampa to come back and win this division. Which,
because Carolina doesn't count at this point.
Yeah.
Carolina's far.
I still think Tampa's going to win this division. I've said it. I think Tampa's I think they're going to win the division. Tampa went through a hard stretch where they had to play Philly, and then they lost to you all. That was it's a NFC South battle. But then they lost to who they played next. I forgot who they played after Philly. It was another tough team. But they
was it New Orleans?
No, it was like another juggernaut. But either or they lost. So
Detroit. They played Detroit.
They played Detroit. Yeah, and they still got a chance to win this division, Atlanta. But he got to swallow his pride and say, hey, I'm releasing the offense to the offensive coordinator.
And I'm unleashing Bijan Robinson.
Yeah,
this is malpractice at this point.
Right. Speaking of malpractice, we saw the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills get fired. And my question is, a lot of people saying a lot of Bills fans are saying about time. Where most of the world who's not really in the Bills camp like that saying, no, y'all just trying to hide the fact that Josh Allen is playing bad. I think that he probably should have been fired, because the offense hadn't been playing well at all this year. I don't know what's going on. It hadn't been. But also, Josh Allen has been awful offensively as far as turning the ball over. As far as turning the ball over, that's what I'm saying. As far as keeping the ball and everything, leading the league in turnovers. Why do you think, as far as, and I'm part of the media, part of the media and everyone else is not calling him out? I am, you are, but why? The obvious, we can say, we tell the truth, shame the devil, because he's this white quarterback. And we say that because they would trash Lamar. But I don't know if it's just that, because we've seen him trash other white quarterbacks too. You know what I'm saying? Romo used to get trashed all the time. He played for Cowboys. But so I don't know if it's just a black and white thing. I think more so it might be that because Lamar gets trashed more so. So I think that might be that. And the fact that they don't look at Lamar as a passing quarterback, which Lamar, besides the turnovers he's made, Lamar, percentage-wise, has been great throwing the ball. He's played exceptionally well. But why do you think they're covering for Josh Allen? And forget Lamar, but why are they covering for him? Because it'd be different. Look, it'd be different when we were saying, why are they trashing Lamar but not trashing? Then we can use the race car or whatever. But they was trashing Brock Purdy when he went through that So why aren't they trashing Josh Allen?
And that's the $64 problem I have with this, right? Because Lamar Jackson threw, like I mentioned before, I've said this like once or twice on the show already. Lamar Jackson has thrown 2 back-breaking interceptions in 4 quarters this season that's costed the Ravens 2 games this year. A pick 6 last week and do an interception, and also had another turnover in the Pittsburgh game, which costed them dearly. Josh Allen makes more mistakes at more inopportune times than anything else. Now, mind you, he had the drop. Gabe Davis had an unexcusable drop last night that should have got him booted from any other league but the NFL last night. But Josh Allen has not been what we make Josh Allen out to be. Because truth be told, you said truth, what we always say, right? Truth is the shame of the devil. Here's the thing. Everybody thinks Josh Allen is the number 2 quarterback in the NFL right now. You look at preseason, everybody's saying Josh Allen is right on the heels of Patrick Mahomes. He's right next to Joe Burrow. He's on that level. My man's got 19 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. It seems like when Lamar Jackson throws the interception, everybody throws up in arms about what goes on. But when Josh Allen throws the interception, it's all about the contextual situation what happens. We don't talk about football plays with Lamar Jackson. It's just an interception. Josh Allen's got 11 of them. Doesn't matter if it's first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. He leads the league with 11 of them. The Bills are 5-5. Josh Allen deserves the same much flack as we're getting right now that Justin Herbert gets in San Diego. He deserves just as much flack as what Justin Herbert gets.
I don't think Justin Herbert is the
Herbert gets the flack. He gets the flack that they can't win.
You're right, but I don't think it's him. I think it's the stigma's following him because of the coach.
Well,
but you're right. No, you're right. You're right. It's but at the same time, and because we're talking about Josh Allen, I think the fact that he has 11 interceptions or turnovers, but with the 19 touchdowns and the fact that he's so talented, is it one of those things that we can live with this because it's like the Brett Favre. Brett Favre was so talented and he was able to do so much, but he threw interceptions. Like we, as a team, you knew, hey, Brett gonna throw like 3 of them that you got to take advantage of them.
Mm-hmm.
3 passes, you're gonna be like, why did he do that? Because of that. Because think about it, we don't really have gunslingers anymore in the NFL besides maybe a Mahomes. 3 now. I say Mahomes, Herbert, and a Josh Allen. Other than that, we don't have that gunslinger. Now, Deshaun Watson used to be a gunslinger back then, but we don't have gunslingers like it used to be back in the day. So are we giving him that pass where it's like he gonna make mistakes, but he's still gonna put you in a position to win?
I think it's because he makes exciting plays. I think because he can make he can throw a 70-yard dart down the field, and he can also run for 20 yards the first time at the drop of a dime. It's the first time a quarterback that's been built like that, that's that same size, that has. He's not as big as Cam Newton, but he could make the same type of impact as Cam Newton can when Cam Newton was on the field. Yeah. But here's the thing: Cam Newton made mistakes too, but they're ready to vilify Cam Newton for everything he did when he was an MVP, similar to Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Hey, Raphael. Josh Allen's thrown 5 interceptions on third downs this year. He's thrown 5 touchdowns with a 54% completion percentage on third downs this year.
Yeah. No,
how come that's not being talked about? This man's throwing interception after interception on third down.
But like we said, I think it's the simple fact that he's like I said, he's exciting. Okay, so real quick, I got some news. First of all, I'm gonna have to do like Stephen A with Shannon Sharp. I'm gonna have a sign that says Mr. Controversy. It's right here, but I'm gonna say Mr. Controversy, but I'm just messing with you, Daddy. Me and Daddy talk all the time, so it's like so I'm not mad. I'm messing with you. But no, first of all, so the suspension of Texas linebacker Denzel Perryman has been reduced from 3 games to 2. So that's big. Also, I don't understand this. Klay Thompson, Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels been fined $25,000. Why is Rudy being fined? He didn't do anything. What did he do?
Listen, he's because Draymond Green's suspension's coming next. So when that suspension comes, it's all going to make sense afterwards because he was involved in it.
But Rudy, all Rudy did was grab Clay. He didn't maliciously grab him. He didn't choke him.
Listen, you just did a whole stop of why he should get fined. He got fined $25,000 for acting like a fake tough guy after getting hit with the melon from the baby boy by Draymond.
Whoa. Draymond will lose 769,970 games because he got suspended for 5 games.
There's your answer to your question why Rudy got 25,000.
Wow. But still, Rudy shouldn't have nothing to do with it.
Listen, if you're involved in it, you're going to get fined. The thing is, nobody got suspended other than Draymond Green. Joe Dumars said this last year when Draymond had the whole stumping on the chest situation with Sabonis in the playoffs. He said, going forward, your reputation when you get into foolishness will play a part. Now Green will hurt his team in more ways than one.
Right.
Because it's a play-in game tournament he's going to miss. He's going to miss those games. Steph Curry is out for the foreseeable next couple of games, maybe into the next week or so with that injury. Golden State's playing for $500,000. Your best defensive player is now suspended during the tournament. It's going to cost them more ways than one. So, listen, a 5-game suspension, once again, Joe Dumars is telling y'all, you got a reputation. Luka Doncic, you might want to chill out with the technicals.
You know what? I think Rudy getting fined because he started COVID. So I think that might have something to do with it. Rudy always gonna be in trouble. He's always gonna be COVID. He started COVID in America.
Listen, you forgot to put your hand on the microphone when you said that.
Right.
You forgot to put your hand on the microphone and then pass it over to the next person in the house.
Always. All right, let's keep on with this. The James Harden trade. Ab mentioned it earlier. It's not working. We know that. I was a little shocked that they did it. And mind you, we got a lot of people saying Kawhi mad and Russ mad. I think management had to go to players to see if they wanted this trade. I believe. I don't think Baldwin would do this without their consent.
Yeah, Westbrook wanted Harden in the team anyway. Like that. Yeah.
I think all of them.
And Paul George, if Russ signs on it, Paul George is going to sign off for it. So
And
I think
right. Kawhi just scratched his head, but but should they panic? Everybody's getting upset about this or saying it's not going to work. They like Ab said, Clippers get a stopper for trading for Harden and everything. But do you think should we give this time? Because I believe so. I'll say let's give it time. They got to learn. They played better yesterday, and I noticed that Russ wasn't on the floor at the end of the game during the crunch time, but he had a bad shooting night as well. Kawhi had a bad shooting night as well also, but we'll see how it plays. I believe one of them have to go to the bench. I believe so. Or real quick, a statement came out. The length of suspension is based on part of Green's history, which I agree with. It should have been like that. I agree. But either or, again, I think that somebody have to go to the bench. Or, like I said, if they start, then you start Harden. I think Harden should be the one, and they did it last night. Harden should be playing with the backups because Russ already has that connection and chemistry with everyone else.
this is all on Tyronn Lue at this point. Here's what Tyronn Lue, in my opinion, should do. We have watched James Harden evolve in multiple ways in his entire career. We saw him be a 6-man Oklahoma City. He went to Houston, became an analytics darling. And showed that he was one of the greatest offensive players this league has ever seen during those years in Houston. We all talk about how great of an offensive player he was. He went to Brooklyn and tried to fit in that situation. He went to Houston, he went to Philadelphia and became more of a pass first, shoot first, second player. How about this? Russell Westbrook ain't a shooter. But one thing Russell Westbrook will do is get the ball in the right hands. How about you take James Harden off ball and let him launch away from the three-point line? What about this part of his evolution of James Harden's career? If you're going to play Westbrook and Harden next to each other, because you're married to this now, there's nothing else for this. You're married to this. You're going to have those guys on the court because you've traded all the bench away anyway, and there's nothing left in the cupboard back there. All I'm saying is this. Why don't you let James Harden play more off ball and let him be a shooter, because you trust him shooting the ball than Russell Westbrook.
But this is the thing with Harden. Harden is not that player anymore. Think about Harden. Harden stopped being an off the ball shooter maybe his second or third year in Houston. And you know why I say that? It's because Harden, like they showed it the other night. They had it, I think Kawhi or Paul, whoever, hit Harden wide open for a three. What Harden do? He dribbled. He dribbled, but then he stepped back, shot a three. That's his game. He's not that. And honestly, his game is transformed to me. You've seen in Brooklyn, and maybe because of the system, so hard, the system, like he says, but Brooklyn and Philly as more of a point guard. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why I say they start. You do like Atlanta does with Trey and with DJ. You let him start. They play the first 4 or 5 minutes. Take Harden out. Let Westbrook play the rest of the half or the last, until the last 2 minutes. Bring Harden in. Let Harden play and start with the backups, because Harden still is a distributor as well. He can shoot as well, but these days he's not that. I'm gonna score 40 points. He's not that. He's more of a distributor.
No, I'm not asking James Harden to score 40 points a game, because that's what you got Kawhi and Paul George for. What I'm saying is, and Harden even said this after the game as well too. So I saw a question that they asked him about not being used to playing off ball, because he said he's not used to playing off ball. That's why I think this is
right. That's what I'm saying.
So right. I think the one thing about it is, but when James had to evolve his game, he's been able to do it. That's what I'm saying. We've watched James Harden evolve his game over his career. The thing is, I think if you just tell James, listen, you're going to have times where you're going to handle the ball, but when Russell's on the court, I need you to be able to get into spots, because we need your 3-point shooting. We need your ability to hit jump shots. And
Danny, he did that last night again, and it makes sense, like you said. He's just not used to playing. He hadn't done it since OKC. Maybe even OKC, he would come in late in games, he became an off-ball threat. Right. I'm not, like I said, if you're going to play those two guys together, that's the way he evolved to a bum now. Stop it. But a lot of people said the same thing about Russell Westbrook over the last couple of years. Right. Yeah.
And, all those triple doubles, he became a bum when he left Washington. The same thing with Carmelo Anthony. The one thing about James Harden is James Harden was an all-star last year. He ain't no bum when you're an all-star. When you're getting 22 and 10, you ain't no all-star.
Right.
You're no bum. What I'm saying is, I think in a situation where you have Kawhi Leonard, with a situation where you have Paul George, they're going to need shots.
Yeah.
I think if James Harden, because he's the best 3-point shooter on the floor in most situations, because we don't know if Kawhi is even playing most nights. If you have Harden out there, you can't leave him wide open. Westbrook will have more lanes to get to the basket to be able to create, because we know if Russ is creating, guys are going to get the ball, and Russ is going to make sure the ball gets to you in the right spot. They're just having spacing issues. This is more on Tyronn Lue than anything else, but it's only 5 games. If these same problems were happening in January, it is what it is.
I'm talking about, you see it talking about, yes, you could be a bum when you made an all-star game. See, hard in the playoff. Whatever, man. But I do want to talk about this.
That's my guy.
Yeah, I do want to talk about. I do want to talk about this real quick. The level of intensity. Do we've seen the fight with Clay and who was it?
McDaniels.
Then we saw it with Chet. That game,
and Collins.
Chippy. Yeah, that was all chippy. But you've seen it more and more. Do you think this is due to the tournament play, or do you think?
I think it's raised, and these tournament games have been fun. People hate the tournament.
I love
it. It's giving us something to watch NBA wise in November and December.
Wait. Can we explain it though? Because I'm not going to lie, Danny. I'm not going to lie, Ab. I want to know if you had the same problem. Maybe y'all understand. So I'm media, right? And I'm covering the games. I'm not even say media. I'm covering these Hogs games, right? And I agree. I love the games, but I'm covering the games, right? And so they're playing tournament games right now. They played it last night, and they're going to play it Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I get an email earlier this week from the NBA asking us if you want to apply for the tournament games, put your application in. I'm scratching my head like, huh? Like, I'm covering this already. Like, I'm at the games. I don't get what they're saying. So please explain, Danny, because I think I understand it. So is it where, because they're categorized in groups, right? And whatever team wins that group, then they go to the bracket in Las Vegas. Is that correct?
So what happens is there are 6 brackets across the NBA. Everybody's put in pods. Mm-hmm. So think of it like this. It is basically basketball's version of an in-season World Cup. You put the teams in different brackets based upon records and how they did it. So you play 5 games. Everybody plays 5 games in their bracket, and it's mixed teams from each part of the conferences. So the winner of those games, the 3 bracket winners, and the team with the best record will then play in another set of games, which are basically regular season games anyway. They're all regular season games, basically.
Right.
All right. And then what happens is the 4 teams that are left after group play, after pool play, will then play a Final Four in Vegas. So 2 teams, and the winner play in, and that team gets $500,000. It's really what it is. If you want to look at something similar, look at how the WNBA did the Commissioner's Cup. It's almost the same thing as what soccer's version of the Champions League is. Mm-hmm. It's almost the same type of format. They're not adding any additional games. It just makes basketball in December and November actually something that we're talking about. Because the NFL takes everything until basically January. But now we're talking about something that means something, and the guys are playing for $500,000. Guys want money. That's really what it is.
Right. Okay. Because like I said, I was just trying to figure out how it was going, and I was confused. Like I said, when I got the email, I was so confused. Like, what?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the Champions League, but the one thing I say is kind of the Commissioner's Cup is because they're taking regular season games. In the Champions League, they don't count in their regular Premier League games or the La Liga League games or the leagues in France. They play separate games. So the WNBA aspect is they're playing a regular Tuesday night game that counts in the regular standings, and then they also count in the tournament standings at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, and Rat, they're making you apply twice because it's extra media coverage because these are all big events. Like, this is something huge and people are coming to those.
I just didn't understand because I didn't understand the tournament. Because before we were asking the players, they was like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, they was asking the tournament.
All I know is what the NBA should do next year if we're going to do this again. If you really want to see playoff intensity, how about this? You guarantee the winner of the tournament a playoff spot. There you go. And why I say it is twofold. If a team in the standings finish in the top 6, they get a home. They get the home playoff series if they win the tournament. If they're in the 7 through 10 spot, they go to 7 automatically. I bet you nobody's sitting those games where you're automatically guaranteed a play-in or a playoff spot for winning the whole thing. It gives everybody extra incentive to do something. $500,000 is great. But when you take one of those playoff spots away, let's see what happens then. I bet you Anthony Davis and LeBron James is playing some kind of tournament game to make sure they get home court. Because as we know, home court means everything, or just getting in the play-in. Imagine if the Hawks need a play-in spot and they're struggling, they have injuries. They got something to play for. It gives teams something to play for.
Well, we can say right now it looks like excuse me, that they are playing for something and they're ready to play for something. So that's good, man. So like I said, it's cool, man. We enjoy it. We love it. I think it's cool to see that. And like I said, we're gonna hopefully it continues to get better, the more it goes on. So all right, y'all, we're gonna take a quick break and we will be right back to talk about your injuries to your favorite team, your fantasy players, favorite players, all of that. All right. We have family in the building. We'll be right back.
Have a sports injury? Need to see an orthopedic doctor? Ortho Atlanta is one of Metro Atlanta's largest orthopedic and sports medicine practices, providing orthopedic and sports medicine care for the whole family. With 37 physicians and 14 offices, the practice provides the highest level of care for injury of muscles, joints, bones, and spine. Ortho Atlanta offers convenient access to a full range of musculoskeletal surgeons and specialists. Ortho Atlanta also offers on-site physical therapy, pain management care, MRI imaging, and workers' compensation care. The Ortho Atlanta surgery centers in Austell and Fayetteville provide cost-effective, same-day surgical procedures in an accredited outpatient center. Hip, knee, shoulder, back pain? Ortho Atlanta has you covered with specialists in all areas. Same-day appointments, orthopedic care for the whole family. Ortho Atlanta, Atlanta's choice for orthopedic and sports medicine care. Learn more at www.orthoatlanta.com.
This is how we got to do it. I don't normally do it. Usually I come and he just appeared, but we got to give a special introduction to the one and only orthopedic for Ortho Atlanta. Our family, our cousin, Dr. Donnie Fowler III. What's going on, Doc?
How's it going, fellas? Good to be back.
Great to see you, Doc.
Yeah.
What's up, Danny? How's it going?
Listen, I'm special now that I'm in the building with you.
I'm just here with the one, the only Mr. Controversy. So we're all sitting in the presence of greatness.
Hey,
so.
I appreciate that. And Doc, I purposely didn't call you. I wanted to when I thought about it. I was going to call you during the Duke game and say something. I was like, I'm gonna just leave it alone. I'm not going to call you during that game with Duke and who they play. They played.
Were we talking football or basketball?
Football. Football.
They played UNC.
Yeah, and I was about to call them. They do it, and I was like, nope, let me leave it alone. I remember last time, so
I know. Hey, we're on our third string quarterback. I was surprised they were in the game.
Y'all played. That's what I was gonna call you about. But I was like,
it is what it is. It's basketball season.
Right. And
even though we already lost one game in that too, but we rebounded. We rebounded last night. So.
That was a great game, man.
All I know is, Doc, the crazy thing about it is Caleb, Caleb still owns you in your own building in another set of colors anyway.
Yeah, we beat Caleb both games last year. So he lost his last two with Carolina against us. So.
Wait, Doc, I forgot to mention, and we'll move on. Danny's a UNC fan, so I forgot to. I was like, why did you say that? Then I thought about it. Yeah,
hey, I'm hoping UNC can make it back to the NCAA tournament this year. I'm sure the NIT was rough last year.
All right, y'all.
We skipped the NIT last year.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. I should have thought about this before I had Danny come on. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, all right. So let's talk about Deshaun Watson. This is the big story. Doc, of course, we couldn't wait to ask you about this, man. He is out for the season with a fracture in his throwing shoulder. But how long should it take to heal? And will he lose any range, or will he gain back his range and motion in his shoulder?
Yeah. So at first, when they said a fracture in his shoulder, I was wondering if it was related to the rotator cuff thing. It doesn't sound like it was, because they said it's the glenoid, so that's a socket. So the fracture's off the socket of the ball and socket joint. And so, that can be repaired I don't want to say easily, but it's not an uncommon actually injury to see where you get a small fracture of the socket and then some labral tearing that you got to fix with it. So, I mean, I would anticipate a full recovery for him. Obviously, he's not coming back this season. I would say the normal recovery for something like this would be somewhere 5 to 6 months for a throwing athlete. So, I mean, if you do the math, that should put him back in plenty of time for training camp. And I don't see any long-term issues. And hopefully the Browns don't either, since they paid him, $230 million guaranteed. So, but it's a big deal. Obviously, that's a big investment on a player who obviously has had a lot of stuff going on in the past, and now you're dealing with this, and so it's tough. I mean, you never want to see it for anybody. The Browns got a good D. I think they'll still be kind of in it, but Deshaun Watson is certainly a game changer on offense compared to what they have in reserve. I think Dorian from
Thompson,
coming from UCLA, and he didn't look very good the first time he played. Maybe with a little prep this time, be a little better, but we'll see.
Right.
Doc, speaking about things we have to see, Dallas, the Cowboys linebacker Landon Van Der Esch, is out for the season with a neck injury, and some people think it's career-ending. Do you think the injury that he's suffered on top of the injuries have forced him to be in a career-ending situation?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, the spine, especially the neck, is never something that is a good thing to have any kind of recurrent or ongoing issues. I mean, once upon a time, once you had neck surgery, you were out. They didn't even try to have you come back, and he already had fusion. It wasn't even like a decompression. As far as I know, he's already had a fusion of at least 2 of the vertebrae in his neck. And has had several neck injuries since then, stingers that took him out of the game, and now this more serious one. So if you're talking about a guy who's had a neck fusion, multiple neck injuries, missed multiple games over the last 3 or 4 years, it's kind of getting to the point where you kind of have to almost do what's best for the player if he's not going to do what's best for himself, and try to have him look at the big picture and say, you don't want to end up in a wheelchair. Live your life and do other great things. So it's not the way anybody wants to go out, but I would be very surprised if any doctors fully cleared him to come back, let alone if teams would take on that injury risk at this point, which again, it's a sad situation, but I don't see him coming back.
Man, yeah, that's horrible. Also, now this is more so, I mean, everybody wants to know because a lot of people have them, but this is definitely selfish to me, but Devon Achane, I believe that's how you say his last name, but he just came off they designated him to return within 21 days off the IR list, and he's dealing with the high ankle sprain. He's been out 4 weeks. He was limited today in practice. Do you see him playing? Like, what are the chances of him playing? And what should I play him if he does?
I think the chances are pretty good. Even though he was listed as limited, I mean, reading between the lines and what I could find, everybody seemed to think that he was moving very well and looked really good. And they obviously didn't rush him back. They gave him the full 4 weeks on the IR. And I guess they kind of even said, well, we may have been able to bring him back sooner in a brace, but him being a speed guy, we just want him to be fully healed and ready to go. So I think he's going to have the green light. And I think Mostert's banged up a little bit too. Even when Mostert's healthy, he still was running for 200 yards. So if he's activated, which you should know by Saturday, I would have him in my starting lineup if he's on your team.
And Doc, we're going to transition. We're still talking fantasy, but let's talk about fantasy basketball, because this is the part of the year where everybody's trying to win early season games, and people took Stephen Curry extremely high in the draft. Some people took him in the top 5 of their fantasy draft, and he missed last night's game with a sore right knee. Even though the MRI said there was no structural damage, when you have things like that, how long do you normally think those injuries take to heal, and what kind of recovery time we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, certainly good news that they didn't see any structural damage. When you're talking about a guy like Steph Curry, of course, they're going to protect, the long-term interest and investment there. So, I mean, if we were talking it's the playoffs, maybe they sit him a game and he's back. With this being the early part of the regular season and certainly a lot of mileage left that he's going to have to go through, I think they're going to be smart, kind of take it slow. I think they've already announced he's out tomorrow night, and I would assume likely at least till next week, and then they'll reevaluate him next week, see how he's moving around, and then usually if there's no structural damage, it just comes down to, is he having any pain? Is he moving well? Does he just look comfortable out there? So I would anticipate maybe being back in a week, give or take, would be my best guess, but certainly something that you want to keep an eye on.
All right, Doc, we appreciate that information. Now it is time to move on to our weekly picks, and we're going to start off with Doc. The first game we have UGA going up against, they're going to travel to Tennessee to play the Volunteers. It is the +10 for the Volunteers. Are you sticking with that, or you say no?
No, I mean, we've talked about this when a team gets their butt whooped like Tennessee did last weekend. You can either come back, fight, or you're fighting, or your spirit's just broken. And I mean, I'm not saying that Tennessee is going to be broken, but when you have to come back and face arguably the number one team in the nation, depending on who you want to talk to, I think that's a big undertaking. So I think Georgia, I wasn't as impressed early on, but these last few weeks, I feel like they've really hit their stride and look like a complete team. And just based off of the tailspin that I saw from Tennessee last weekend, I expect Georgia to cover the 10 points.
Go ahead, Danny.
Joe Milton the third, another person with the third at the end of it. Me, myself, and Joe and Donnie all have thirds at the end of it. One thing about it is, Joe Milton, if he wants to get on that NFL draft board, he's going to have to do it against elite level competition. He has the arm and everybody sees it. It's a +10. It's at home. They played bad last week. Georgia hasn't had a pitfall all season. Don't think Georgia's going to lose. I think Tennessee does cover the 10.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's funny because UGA has taken that Alabama approach this year, right? I think Kirby has learned from Alabama. So you know what? We don't care what everybody says. We're going to schedule. Usually Alabama they used to have a tough game, the first game or whatever of the season. So if they lose, they'd be good. They'd be all right. But either or. But then after that, they have a whole bunch of games where they're playing against Walmart University, McDonald's Tech, and KFC State. But it'll just get them prepared to when they play later in the season, then they're playing their best ball. As we see in Alabama, now we're starting to see that in Georgia. But like you stated, Danny, I just think the fact, and Dr. Fowler said, either you come back and show up or you just do nothing. I think they're going to come back and show up. And like you said, they haven't had a pitfall yet. Georgia, well, they've had some where they've almost had a pitfall. Then they played well in the second half. But I just think Tennessee's going to play them well. Well enough to where it's going to be close, and then Georgia take off. But it'll be like a 10-point. It'll be right at 10. I mean, it just seems like Vegas has been hitting it on stride as the last 3 weeks. So I'm going with +10. Now, the big game, you have Washington going travel up to Oregon to play Oregon State, and that is a -2 for Oregon State, I believe. Danny, who are you going with?
Give me the Beavers.
Are you taking?
I'm taking the Beavers not only to take the 2, but I'm taking the Beavers to win the game as well too. Oregon State will end this Washington fiasco right now because the Pac-12 makes no sense anyway. Oregon State will take all their money and then take Washington's national championship hopes. Go Beavers.
See, Danny he's biased. He don't think Pac-12 is good, but I told him it's a different conference this year. I think Washington's going to beat them, man. This is something about the story with Penix and everything. It's just like right now they just got like God is on this. I mean, God is on everybody's side, but God is on their side. The football guys are on their side. And I think Washington, they find a way to win once again. And I think, I'm taking it because I think they're going to win. Doc?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Washington too. I guess a little surprised that they're underdogs. I mean, I get it. Oregon State's good. I think the line's actually up to 2.5. Oregon State's favored now, but yeah, I've watched. Admittedly, I haven't watched a lot of Oregon State football this year. I mean, I watched plenty of DJ when he was at Clemson. I know he's playing a lot better now, but there's just something about this Washington team and Michael Penix that I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Washington will pull it out. I think it'll be, 4 to 7 point kind of thing. It's going to be within like a touchdown, but I think Washington wins.
All right. Now let's go to the NFL. So the record in the NFL for our picks. So right now, Rue is 24-12, still in the league. He went 2-2 last week. Mr. Controversy is 20. What are we? We're 23-17. And Doc, I went 3-1. I know I should have picked Detroit. And Doc went a whooping 0-4, and now he's at the bottom with 22-18. So I'm on a roll. I'm gonna keep this up. I've been doing good. I went 3-1 last week. I think we all went 3-1 last week. So I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep this up. So, but this is even harder than last week. We got Baltimore going up against Cleveland. Baltimore going up against Cincy. So Cincy is traveling to Baltimore, I believe. Thursday night game. I'm going with this is hard, but I'm going with Baltimore only because Higgins is not playing, and the fact that Higgins is not playing with that stingy Baltimore defense, even though Cleveland put up some numbers, and it's a division battle, so who knows how it will go. But I just think that Chase won't be enough, and I think Baltimore wants to avenge that loss. And I think Baltimore is maybe the second best team in the league. I know they lost last week, but I got them as the second best team in the league. And I have Baltimore winning that game 7-3. Winning that game. So they're going to improve to 8-3. Doc, who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to stay with you in Baltimore. That was a pretty bad collapse that they had last weekend. They were up, at least 2 scores there in the fourth quarter. But it's at home. The defense is there. Cincinnati obviously has been up and down. They've been more up lately, but they obviously lost out to a pretty hot Houston team and CJ Stroud last weekend. So I think it's going to be a good game. But I agree with Higgins out. They still are missing one of their weapons that he was kind of starting to hit again, which is part of why I feel like they started looking really good when they could spread teams out and not all the focus is on Jamar Chase. So, yeah, give me Baltimore in a tough game at home. Lamar Jackson finds a way to probably win on a final drive. So,
Danny?
I'm going to say the number of the day is 0. You know what that means? 2-0. That's my wife's record when she goes to watch Ravens games in person. We're going to the game tomorrow. Ravens at home, easily. I think the Ravens win the game at home. My wife is undefeated. She's a Ravens fan. Every time we go, they win. No, but realistically on the field, here's the thing. Lamar Jackson is a short week. I think they get everything out the system of last week. The T. Higgins injury is huge, but I think Lamar Jackson will get out of the head of making turnovers at the inopportune time. He looks like the MVP again on Thursday night. Everybody's going to have the love affair with Lamar Jackson, and I think Mark Andrews and Odell Beckham both score tomorrow night. I don't think it's more rushing touchdowns. I think it's more passing touchdowns. Give me the Ravens, and I'll even say they win by close to double digits tomorrow night.
Okay. Now we have Pitt and Cleveland. Doc, I'm going to start with you. Who are you going with?
I picked Cleveland before they announced Watson was out for the season with his fracture. Part of me wants to flip based on that from what I've seen from Cleveland's soon-to-be starting quarterback. However, it's in Cleveland. That defense isn't going anywhere, and I don't know how Pittsburgh has the record that they have, because I mean I know they have a good defense too, but I've watched them and they're just like ugly games, and I don't understand how they're 6-3 or whatever the record is. It boggles my mind. So I think the law of averages somehow takes shape, and even without Deshaun Watson, Cleveland finds a way to win at home, kind of behind that stout defense and Myles Garrett.
Danny?
The Pittsburgh Steelers are the NFL version of the Iowa Hawkeyes in college football. We don't know how they do it. We don't. Their offense is ugly. There's nothing pretty about it. Kenny Pickett is the ugliest playing 6-3 quarterback we're going to have on a winning team. But somehow it works. It works. I don't understand. Myles Garrett's only one person, but he can't play both sides of the ball. They're going to put 9 in the box. If Thompson can throw the ball down the field, that's going to be the difference maker. But it's Mike Tomlin, it's the Steelers defense, and it's a division game. Give me the Steelers on the road, taking out the Browns and putting themselves right back in that wild card hunt.
Yeah, I'm going to Cleveland. I'm going with Cleveland as well. I just, even though Pittsburgh does what they do what they do, and like you said, we don't know how Tomlin, whatever, but this is a division where, because of ugly games and the fact that Pittsburgh win ugly with Cleveland's defense, and then it's pretty much payback. I think Cleveland wins this game. They find a way. Garrett has a big game, and I think it's going to be a turnover that messes this up for Pittsburgh, and I got Cleveland winning. All right, next, Danny, Minnesota, Denver. In Denver, who you got?
Wow, this is the comeback bowl, huh? Josh Dobbins has a comeback season in Minnesota, coming and saving the entire season, and Russell Wilson is now got the Denver Broncos right back in the playoff hunt. Both players coming from the depths of nowhere. But there's people give Russell Wilson flack, but realize Russell Wilson's actually been pretty good this year. It ain't been pretty, but it's effective. Give me the fighting Sean Paytons at home. I don't know. Russell Wilson throws a weird touchdown or two. This is a low-scoring game. Give me the Broncos at home. I'm taking the fighting Sean Paytons.
Man, looks like we just agreeing. I got to go with Denver. This is a hard one. I'm not going to lie. But the way Minnesota is believing right now, and Dobbs is playing, but Denver's on the same path. And I think that win over Buffalo, the way they won, they feel like they're destined right now, So I feel like it's a low-scoring game. Well, I won't say low. I say it's an ugly game, but I can see the score at 24-19, and I'm going Denver. Doc?
I guess I'll be the contrarian. I think it honestly could go either way. Dobbs has kind of made a believer out of me. I mean, I thought he actually looked pretty good in Arizona before he even got to Minnesota. And I don't expect to see Jefferson back for them. But again, they still found a way to look like a team and on both sides and stay in the hunt. Again, Denver's definitely, their defense has been better. Russ has been better. Offense is still a little stagnant, but it's at home, so I think it's going to be a close game. But for whatever reason, I'm buying in on the Magic with Dobbs over Wilson, just barely, but barely.
All right, and then last game, I'm gonna go Philly KC in Kansas City. This is hard. Like, it's been some hard games this week, but I just think this is Denver's. Dallas defense is great. Very good, but I think right now Kansas City's defense is just playing like that much spectacular. And before the season, I was like, Philly's going to win. This is their revenge game. But I just think they're playing against this defense, and Philly's been kind of I don't want to say lucky, but they just been winning close games they probably could have lost. And I think now you playing a team that you can't make mistakes or, give them a chance to win, they'll take advantage. And I just think Kansas City pulls it out. Believe it or not, I think it's going to be a shootout. Believe it or not, and I got Kansas City winning. All right, Doc.
Yeah, I'm gonna go KC too. If it was in, because it is in KC, if it was in Philly, maybe I'd go the other way. I'm gonna favor the home team. I think both of them are gonna make deep runs, if not see each other again, possibly at the end of the season in the Super Bowl. But I think I agree. As a Washington fan, I've watched the Eagles closely twice when we've lost to them at the very end, once in overtime, and had a chance to win both those games. And I just don't feel like they've quite hit their stride. I mean, Goddard's out. I know that's just one guy. They got AJ and Dominic and everybody else, but they just don't seem to be clicking. I think the Chiefs are. They had a bad loss a couple weeks ago, but it's at home. Everybody loves Kelsey and Taylor Swift. They got the magic on their side, so give me the Chiefs. So,
I mean, Doc almost took my answer. Basically, listen to this thing. It's the Kelsey Bowl in Kansas City, which means Mama Kelsey's going to be sitting in somebody's press box, which means that Mama Kelsey's going to be there. That means Taylor Swift's going to be there. And just like in the game of Mario, when you hit the question mark and the star comes out, Travis Kelce takes the star and goes bleeping down the field. Here, in realistic, was going to happen. Kelsey was not very good in that game 2 weeks ago in Germany against Miami. Miami took him out of the game. He's going to wreak havoc on the second and third levels. But also watch Rasheed Rice, and Patrick Mahomes didn't have the best game either. Give me Kansas City in the Super Bowl rematch, because I think Philly's going to have to throw one too many times because they can't trust the running game. Give me the Chiefs. And I think Travis Kelce on the fantasy side gets 2 touchdowns in this game as well, too.
Well, all right. There are the picks. Doc, we definitely appreciate you for coming on, man. Say hello to the family. And, hey, man, we will see you. I don't know if we'll see you next week because that's holidays. People are going to be with the family. I don't think we're going to go ahead and do that. But until then, have a safe holiday and enjoy it. Or Thanksgiving, we'll see you week after next. But enjoy it. And the daughters, the family's first Thanksgiving all together. So that's going to be nice. So enjoy it. But I'll probably be talking to you soon, but again, enjoy it. And
thanks, fellas.
We got for next.
Appreciate it. Danny, good seeing you. Take care.
Great seeing you, Doc.
All right, y'all. We're going to take a quick break. We got a message for you. And then we're going to be back to end the show. We'll be right back.
Yo, what's good, everybody? This is K Boogie here with your food for positive thoughts on the 3-point conversion with our boy, Mr. Controversy and Rue. Your dreams, your vision, have they just fallen by the wayside? Have you stopped dreaming? Have you stopped having a vision for your brand, for your business? Have you just figured you put that on the shelf and you forgot about it and said, yo, life, it is what it is. So why should I worry about that? Why should I dream? Why should I focus on that vision? I'm not going to be able to do it because it's how old I am. I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't have the money. I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't have the connections. Why are you talking yourself out of something that God has placed inside of you? This is something that God has placed inside of you. So guess what? You are equipped for it. You're equipped to get this thing handled. You're equipped to bring this out of you and bring it into fruition. You got to understand, man, God is not going to place it inside of you just to tease you and just to play with you. It's placed inside of you for a reason, because you have a gift inside of you that can be a blessing to this world. So why are you quitting on yourself? Why are you giving up on yourself? Yo, go dream again. Yo, get that vision board back up. Get that vision back in place. Man, remember, yo, write the vision down, man. Make it plain. It's paraphrasing. But yo, go get what's yours. Let's get what's ours. Yeah, I know the year's almost over, but guess what? This is great groundwork, great foundation that you can have for 2024. So go get what's yours, because you are equipped. See you next week. Peace.
This is Ab Stanley with the Look. This is Ab Stanley with the look inside the three-point conversions NFL power rankings heading into Week 11. This week, let's take a look inside the AFC North. Coming in at number 4 are the Baltimore Ravens at 7-3. Baltimore scored 30 or more points for the 4th game in a row, but this performance came in a loss. They have a total of 7 turnovers in their 3 losses and a total of 14 turnovers overall this season. Number 8 are the Cleveland Browns at 6-3. The Browns have won 4 out of their last 5 games, and the division lead is now within striking distance. The Browns are ranked 6th overall in total points allowed and 1st overall in total yards allowed. Number 11 are the Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-3. The Steelers haven't lost 2 games in a row all season, but have now been on a win streak for the 3rd time in 2023. The Steelers have forced 10 interceptions and recovered 8 lost fumbles on defense. Number 14 are the Cincinnati Bengals at 5-4. The Bengals snapped their 4-game winning streak after their nail-biting defeat to the Houston Texans. Sunday's loss marked the first time they had multiple turnovers in the same game this season. Our offensive player of the week is Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. He threw for 404 yards with 4 touchdowns through the air and 1 touchdown on the ground against the New York Giants. Our defensive player of the week is Houston Texans defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins. He constantly penetrated the Bengals front line and finished with 5 total tackles, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. You can catch the full rankings at the 3pointconversion.com, and you can find me, Ab Stanley, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
It is time. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay. It is time to go. And before we go, man, you know how we do. Been a good show, great show. And we've had a lot of fun, but we got to end it the right way. And y'all know what it is. So, like always, if you hear this music, you already know what it means. It means it is time to let you go. But before we let you go, we have a couple of shouts out. And stay tuned because you might be a part of it. First off, I want to give a shout out to Almighty God for giving me the platform to do what I do, say what I say, make you all upset, mad, happy. Want to give me the stop it button. God, I definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much. Shout out to my homeboy, Rue. Rue, you see, we got you, baby. Appreciate you, man. You know I was gonna say that. And then shout out to my guy, D. Thompson, Danny Thompson, coming in, stepping in, man. Come off the bench hot, 6th man of the year, replace, do what he does. Danny, anything you want to say?
Listen, first and foremost, like I said, you mentioned God first and foremost. You can't do without him. You know, we both learned, especially over the last 2 weeks, that when he always shows up, when he shows up, he shows out all the time. Also, like I said, big shout outs to Rue. Hey, man, I hope I kept the seat warm for you till you get back in 2 weeks. Hope all is well. We can't wait to have you back on air. Also, big shout outs to the team at the 3-point conversion, the entire crew, family. I don't want to give everybody's name out because I might miss somebody, but it's the entire crew. And my guy, listen, you call, I got you.
Right.
Always.
I want to give a stop at CJ Bentley for just showing up at the end of the show. I don't know what happened, man. I saw you come in. I had to say that. Anyway, also, man, I want to thank Dr. Powell for coming on, man, doing what he do. Appreciate you, Doc. Also, hold on, let me put CJ.
Oh, hey, Vince jumped in. I didn't even see this comment earlier where he said his last name is Thompson. He must be bad. Don't think I didn't see that comment.
Right.
But also, man, I want to shout out to CJ, Vincent, Ab, Cortland, Mateo, and whoever else was in it, Ryan, Alex, and whoever else is in the chat, and whoever watching is or listening as a podcast. I appreciate you. I want to thank my lovely wife, beautiful children, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, aunties, uncles. My grandma, she's coming back, man. She's just been down, so I got to bring her back. She's coming back. But
tell Grandma it's Thanksgiving. I'm looking for my pecan pie as well too.
Right, we got her.
Grandma owe me a pie.
We got you. Also, my cousins and play cousins. Hey, let family know that you love them. Love them while they still can feel it. Love them while they still alive. Eat good, drink responsibly. Be safe until the week after next. Have a great Thanksgiving. If you don't hear from us, happy holidays. And until then, the week after next, same time, same show, same crazy host, same sports nonsense. When you miss me, I'm out. Peace.